Hi, my name is Robert. Please read the comments in the About section of this video. It has valuable information and updates. My YouTube channel has a disclaimer video that I encourage you to watch. And please like, share, and subscribe. I hope you found what you're looking for. Thank you very much for watching. Hey, I wanted to do a quick video about coolant roulette and blowing your engine and destroying your head gasket and overheating your car and driving your car with red warning lights on. It just doesn't work. That's the number one way to destroy an engine. These 850 Volvos are more forgiving than others. The reason I say that is they have a pretty clear coolant reservoir here. You can monitor your coolant level, and they have a wire there with a sensor in it that lets you know when the coolant is low. Now, almost any car, this is the same way. If a red light shows up on the dash, that means shut it down. If an amber light shows up, you can keep on driving. Now in these cars, if you see a red light show up in the dash, you need to cut the car off to the one position so that your steering wheel is not locked, and then pull the car over to the side of the road. To me, I don't care if you're even blocking traffic or on the freeway. A tow job is cheaper than a new engine. It's just a simple fact. This car, when I cut the key on, I got red lights. This red light down here is the worst one. This one here, there's a coolant bottle with a fan on it and water going across it. That is your low coolant light. The one right above it is your oil pressure light. If either one of those lights come on, you need to shut this car down immediately. So here's the deal. You're driving down the street. Of course, you're checking your fluids weekly, so you know that your fluid levels are good. Your low coolant light comes on. That means that somewhere in your system, you have had a coolant leak enough to cause that bottle to be empty. Once that coolant reservoir bottle is empty, you got about 30 seconds, if the rest of this engine is emptying itself of coolant, before you blow the engine. 30 seconds, people, not the next exit, not 10 miles down the road, not 4 miles home from the grocery store. You have 30 seconds. And I promise you, a tow is cheaper than an engine. Here's the deal. I told my daughter when she first started driving, if you see that red light come on, you turn the key off before you pull over. Because a tow is cheaper than an engine. It's just simple math. I can normally get a tow around town for 50 bucks. To have somebody or myself rebuild or replace the engine is going to cost at least $800. So why would I try to make it to the next exit or try to make it home? That's just not smart. It's not going to happen. You are playing coolant roulette with 8 bullets in a 6-shooter. You're going to lose. When your car is running, this is the position that the ignition is in, the number 2 position. If something happens and you see the red light come on, especially for your coolant, turn it back 1 click. When you turn it back 1 click to your number 1 position, your steering wheel is not locked. You can still steer the car off the road. But you shut the engine down and you stop more damage. See, a lot of people think, I can rely on this temperature gauge being straight across. That'll tell me if I'm overheating or not. That is not so. Let me show you why real quick before I call this a wrap. When you are driving your car and your radiator splits, or your radiator hose splits, or your heater core line splits, or your heater core explodes and dumps coolant under it, your coolant bottle relieves itself of coolant. Your coolant level drops below this sensor that is right there on the bottom of your thermostat. Once that sensor no longer has coolant on it, you no longer have a proper coolant temperature registration. So, if you lose coolant and the low coolant light comes on in that bottle in your dash, which is about the same level, you no longer have enough coolant on the sensor to tell you what the coolant temperature is. That's a coolant temperature sensor. If you have no coolant in the engine, you have no indication to get registered back to the gauge. Then you try to make it to the next exit. The car starts sputtering, then it finally dies. Once the car dies, it is surely over. You've overheated it so much that you've blown the head gasket, and now you definitely need an engine rebuild. Even a white block Volvo, which most Volvos on the road are, all of them after 95, and all of the 850s before 95, and 960s are white block. Very unforgiving. They are protecting that engine block. That head will overheat, warp, shut the car down sometimes. Nonetheless, even if the car doesn't shut down, if you drive over 30 seconds without coolant, it's going to damage the head gasket. The car may still run, but you're going to have coolant problems after that forever. Even a small head gasket breach will cause the combustion chamber to pressurize the coolant system, and it'll start blowing things. I hear about people, man, I replaced my heater core with one from that company, in 8 months it blew. It probably blew because you had a bad head gasket. Your radiator probably blew premature because you had a bad head gasket. Your coolant tank probably blew or expanded or swelled up because you got a bad head gasket. These cars run well with bad head gaskets. That don't mean they run right. Nonetheless, if you run that car out of coolant longer than 30 seconds, you can bet you need a head rebuild. One more thing you need to know, if you got one of these tubes, you have a turbo. The turbo's back there. If you blow the head gasket and then refill it up with coolant, and then the coolant starts mixing in the oil so that when you pull the dipstick, that looks like chocolate milk or coffee, my recommendation is don't rebuild the head, don't rebuild the engine, replace the whole engine. Because once you're running coolant into the oil passages, mixing up and contaminating that oil, you're messing up the lower end of the engine, the crank, the bearings, and all that stuff, especially on these old cars, and you're destroying the turbo. Now you need an engine and a turbo. So, I'm going to say this one more time. If you see that low coolant light, shut it down, then pull over. You don't have enough time and space and all of those things to get to the next exit. And to top it off, I don't have any magic. You can't call, text, email me and get some magic solution to make your car run better or run again without getting that engine rebuilt. I don't believe in practice putting in your liquid head gasket fix. That's just not me. Needs to be rebuilt. If you ask me what I would do, tear the engine apart, rebuild it. So, don't overheat your car. Don't think that you can run it with no coolant all because your temperature gauge is not moving. And don't think that I got some kind of magic that can fix your head. Sad to say, it's happened to me. Coolant hose blew. I tried to make it a half mile to the exit, blew the head. Happened to my new friend Logan. He blew a hose, tried to park the car in the parking lot. They wouldn't let him park. Blew the engine. It ain't worth it. Don't try it. It don't work. I'm out. If you feel that this information was useful, please like it and share it with your social media friends. You can subscribe to my channel so that you will get notifications of future videos that I post. You can follow me on Twitter, and if you need to contact me directly, please visit my website. And if you have any questions, leave them below, and someone or myself will reply to them. Again, thank you very much for watching.